Hello. In this video, I'm going to run through about 40 cards that I would add to a Vincent Valentine deck if I was going to build one in Commander. I'm going to focus on Infect, so getting a lot of +1/+1 encounters, giving our commander Infect, and making it unblockable. Even if you don't want to play Infect, giving your commander these abilities is going to be good. So first up, Tainted Strike. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains Infect until end of turn. Vincent Valentine's going to get big very quickly, and we're going to want to be able to give it Infect. You know, if the backside of the commander is a 3/2, we only have to get 18 counters on it. 17 plus Tainted Strike or 18 counters. Next up is the Obelisk. For 1 mana, it's a legendary artifact. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Obelisk. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if it has counters on it, you may move all counters from it onto target creature. So Vincent Valentine's backside says whenever it dies, you can return to play tapped. Whenever that creature dies, you can put the counters onto the Obelisk, and during the next combat phase, you can put those counters back onto it and again attack with a big 3/2 trample lifelink, which is super good to have counters on. Next up is Sheoldred's Edict. For 1 and a black, it's an instant. We're going to play a lot of sacrifice effects because we're going to want to be able to spend as little mana as possible to destroy as many creatures as possible. So each opponent sacrificing a non-token creature or a creature token allows 3 creatures to die for just 2 mana. So a lot of +1/+1 encounters can get put on Vincent Valentine. And if you need some flexibility, Sheoldred's Edict can also hit Planeswalker. Doesn't do anything with our commander, but it's good there. Another sacrifice outlet, not sacrifice outlet, but sacrifice causer is Fleshbag Marauder. For 2 and a black, it's a creature zombie warrior 3/1. When it enters, each opponent sacks a creature. So you can just sacrifice the Marauder. It's not going to do anything for our commander, but those other 3 things that die will. Getting the bane for our buck. Speaking of bane for our buck, this is just 1 less mana, 1 less power, but it's cheaper, and they can only sacrifice non-token creatures. So now they're forced to take additional costs. Next up is Soul Shatter. For 2 and a black, it's an instant. Each opponent sacks a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. So my thought here is that, again, you have flexibility. You can destroy the biggest creature. They can't just sacrifice a Saproling or sacrifice an Ornithopter and give you no value. They have to sacrifice the biggest thing, which is probably going to have a lot of power. Plus, if they have like a 6 mana Liliana Planeswalker or a 7 mana Ugin in play, hitting that will probably do you a lot of good. Withering Torment is 2 and a black for an instant. Destroy a creature enchantment, you lose 2 life. So this gives you more flexibility. Black has trouble dealing with enchantments, and this is a way to deal with enchantments. And if you just need to kill a creature, kill a big creature, kill a Galta, get 12 counters on Vincent Valentine, that's good too. But you need the flexibility in your deck. Don't just hone on the fact that you want to be able to kill all creatures, because that's what gives you counters. You want to be able to kill anything that gets in your way. Next up is Archfiend of Depravity. For 3, a black and a black, a creature demon 5/4 with flying. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, that player chooses up to 2 creatures they control, then sacrifice the rest. This is another good way to repeatedly empty the board, get blockers out of the way, and focus on just lots of things dying, getting a lot of counters on Vincent Valentine before it transforms. Next is Grave Lighter. For 2 and a black, it's a 2/2 flying spirit. When it enters, draw a card if a creature died this turn. Otherwise, each player sacks a creature. So if things have already happened, you can just cycle it. 3 mana, 2/2 flying, draw a card. But if you need things to die, each opponent can sacrifice a creature, and that'll be good for you there. Next is Braid's Cabal Minion. For 2, a black and a black, the recently unbanned card. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacks an artifact, creature, or land. So if they sacrifice a creature, it's good for you. If they sacrifice an artifact, if this is a treasure, that kind of sucks, but them sacrificing their own lands to prevent that from happening is only going to feel great for you. And just getting them more ways to sacrifice creatures is good. Next card I like is also for Final Fantasy. It's Zodiac, Umbral God. For black, 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 black. Mono block devotion, anyone? Legendary creature god, 5/5, indestructible. When it enters, each player sacks half of the non-god creatures they control of their choice, rounded down. Then a player sacrifice another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So if you already are caring about +1/+1 counters and you have a lot of sacrifice things going on, like I already introduced the idea of, this can also get counters, but also just kills half the permanents in play, which is going to be great for you. Non-god permanents, at least. Tigre, God of Fright, is another good payoff for things being sacrificed. For 3, a black and a black, it's a legendary creature god with menace. It's a 4/5, and whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So, you're going to make them sacrifice things with Fleshbag Marauder. They're going to sacrifice their own things, Evolving Wilds, Fetch Lands, other sacrificable permanents. They're going to discard their own cards with Madness or Mayhem, or your opponent's just going to make them discard cards, or they're going to discard the hand size, or they're going to sacrifice because of other effects. They're going to sacrifice to deal damage. They're going to sacrifice to activate an artifact. There's a lot of potential for tier grade in all decks, but in a deck that you're also making them sacrifice is just going to be good for you. Next up is Morbid Opportunist. We are not playing blue. We do not have great ways to draw cards in black, and this is a great way to draw cards in black, so it breaks that mold and we need to play it. We also have green. Green has good ways to draw cards if we have big creatures. Black doesn't. So being able to draw cards and one or more creatures die, even if your opponents attack each other, let's say they attack with a 3/3 beast, some of them block, so with the 3/3 beast, that's 2 cards dying, you can draw a card. Jet Medallion, you're playing mono black. You're only paying for black spells. They can all cost 1 less to cast. It's better than, a Charcoal Diamond here, because a Charcoal Diamond comes into play tapped. Let's pretend it didn't. Let's compare it to Arcane Signet. I think it's better than an Arcane Signet in this mono black deck, as long as you're casting more than 1 spell each turn. Because you could just tap the Signet for 1 mana, and Jet Medallion just gives you 1 mana for each spell, but if you're casting more than that, it's going to be better there. Swiftfoot Boots. We want a way to play our commander, kill some stuff, attack with a big 3/2, trample, lifelink, and also give it a hexproof. This thing's going to be the target of a lot of removal because it's going to get big very fast. Giving it a hexproof is good. Giving it a haste is even better. Cryptgas is 3 and a black. Creature Spirit. You're going to be playing a lot of swamps in this deck, I have to assume. It's just mono black. You can play some utility lands. I'm going to recommend some towards the end of the video, but tapping all your swamps for an extra black is great. It's also a good reminder, Extort has the white mana symbol as a part of the rules text, so it does not affect this card's commander identity. Commander color identity, I should say. Braid's Arisen Nightmare is 1, a black and a black for a 3/3, legendary creature Nightmare. At the beginning of your end step, you may sack an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent of their choice that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. What I envision here is you can just keep sacrificing creatures and having them destroy their own things. Or to sacrifice an artifact you no longer need, like a treasure. Sacrifice a land if you want to have them sacrifice lands. And at the worst, you're drawing cards, which is going to feel great in mono black. Because your black doesn't have access to that kind of effect too often. Drivenod Carnage Dominus is 3, a black and a black for an 8/3 legendary creature, Phyrexian Horror. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And then for a Phyrexian Black, you can exile 3 creature cards from your graveyard to put an indestructible counter on it. You're going to play Fleshbag Marauder effects that are going to sacrifice itself and all of your opponent's things, and I think you can exile those from the graveyard and then make it indestructible, which is going to feel good. But also, every single time something dies, Vincent gets double the amount of counters, which is also going to feel good. The Masamune, I think I said that right. For 3 mana, it's legendary artifact equipment with equip 2. As long as it's attacking, it has first strike and must be blocked. So now it's a first striking, trampling, life linking, and it has to be blocked, unless we're making it unblockable. Equipped creature has, if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of this creature or an emblem you control to trigger, this ability triggers an additional time. So you'll get double the amount of +1/+1 counters, which is only going to feel great. It's going to get bigger even faster. And this is the first time I am realizing that it says emblem you own to trigger. I'm trying to think if any of my decks have very many emblems I could take advantage of. I think the answer is no. But still good to get double counters, especially when we're like a one-trick pony deck that just counters, attack fast. Harvester of Souls is 4, a black and a black for a creature demon death touching 5/5. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. You cast Fleshbag Marauder, 4 things dies, you can draw up to 4 cards. Your opponents attack each other with 2 4/4s, and they block, and they both die, you draw a card. It's not just creatures you control, it's all creatures, which is going to feel good, as long as they're non-token. So Harvester of Souls is good. Again, you're not playing blue. You need to be able to draw cards. Your hand's going to go empty. You can't keep dealing with that threats constantly. Flare of Malice is 2 a black and a black for an instant. You may sack a non-token black creature rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. So my thought here is the backside of Vincent Valentine, whenever it dies, it comes back into play tapped. You can sacrifice it to the Flare of Malice and have it come back and get the effect. So that seems like it could be good. Flare of Malice, you just sacrifice something else to also do it. Just seemed kind of fun to do it with the commander like that. Imps, Mischief, you're not playing red, you don't have divert effects, you're not playing blue, you don't have negate, so it's a good way to get rid of spells targeting your stuff. For 1 and a black, it's an instant. Change the target of target spell with a single target, you lose life equal to that spell's mana value. 2 things. A, the backside of your commander has lifelink. Losing life equal to the spell's mana value is probably not going to matter because you're going to be attacked with a huge lifelinker. Second, Vincent Valentine is going to try to soak up Swords to Plowshare effects best it can. And you'll have to be able to protect it against that. Because if you lose the counters, you only lose the counters and kill your opponent's things so many times. Because you only have so many of those effects before you just have to draw into them more. Style of the Profane is a great way to cheat some effect into your land, mana base. For 2 and a black, it's an instant, destroy target creature, planeswalker. So it's a mono black tech, you can afford to play utility lands. This one can come into play untapped if you pay 3 life, and destroying something puts more counters on our commander, which is going to feel good. Toxic Deluge. If Vincent Valentine's an 8/8 and everything else is a 7/7, pay 7 life, make everything get -7/-7, kill 5 things, average power of 4, that's 20 +1/+1 counters. Vincent Valentine transforms when it attacks. It's a 23/22. It attacks with lifelink and trample. It moves you up a ton of life and one shot kills one of your opponents. And because it has trample and is going to keep those counters, the next turn they make a couple measly blockers. You can just swing out attack again. So you can kill a lot of things quickly. Mandate of Abandon is 3 and a black for a sorcery. Choose target creature you control. Destroy all creatures of power less than that creature's power. Again, you can probably kill enough of the board to empty out one of your opponents, put a bunch of counters on Vincent Valentine, attack, transform it, and just one-shot kill them. That feels pretty good. It's not the way to win with Infect. Just one-shot kill them. Ingurg's Wake, same thing. 9 mana sorcery, destroy all creatures you don't control, no planeswalkers you don't control. Empty the board, kill one of your opponents. Whichever one's going to rebuild the fastest, kill them first, and then worry about the next ones. Rise of the Dark Realms is 9 mana for a sorcery. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield to your control. You're going to be killing a lot of things. You're going to be making them sacrifice a lot of things. Making your entire army on your side. It doesn't like buff Vincent Valentine, but it's still good. Plus, it gives you a ton of blockers for whenever they ultimately try to get Retribution. Tarian's Soul Cleaver is 1 mana for a legendary artifact equipment. Encrypted creature has vigilance, so it becomes a good blocker. It's a big creature, big blocker, and still has lifelink if it's on the backside. Whenever another artifact or creature is put into the game from the battlefield, put a puzzle counter on a encrypted creature. So things dying, you get more counters. They sacrifice a treasure, you get more counters. They investigate, sack the clue, that you get more counters. They sacrifice an artifact or anything, that you get counters. And your guy gets bigger faster, which is exactly what this deck wants to do. Whisper Silk Cloak is 3 mana for an artifact equipment. It gives the equipped creature unblockable and Shroud. Again, 18 +1/+1 counters, makes it a 21/20. And just one shot kills your opponents and giving them Shroud. This thing's going to try to soak up damage and you need it to be unblockable. Commander's Plate is 1 artifact, 1 mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. Equipped Commander 3, equipped 5. Protection follows the debt rule. That means it cannot be damaged by or destroyed by, enchanted or equipped by, blocked by, or targeted by. So the important part there is blocked. It cannot be blocked by white creatures, red creatures, blue creatures, or green creatures. It cannot be returned to hand with blue spells that specifically targeted either. So again, you can use this to one-shot kill your opponent as long as, 6 things with average power of 3 have already died in the game. That feels pretty good. Another way to get some unblockable is Trailblazer's Boots. For 2 mana and equipped 2, it's an equipment with equipped creature gets non-basic land walk. Unless you're playing against a deck that's literally playing mono red forests, mono red mountains, or mono green forests. Sorry. This is going to just be unblockable for your commander and just one-shot kill the player that's the most likely able to do something against you. Black market is 3, a black and a black for enchantment. Whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on it. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add a black for each charge counter on it. You're not playing green. You need a way to ramp. Your deck's already killing things. Black market would fit in perfectly. Thyresis is another way to give our commander an effect, except for it's an enchantment, and it'll continue to stick around. So you just have to have 7+1/+1 counters on Vincent Valentine when you move to combat. That is a 3-powered creature and a 4-powered creature, which is super easy to destroy. But if you have a sacrifice to kill us everything, you need to make them sacrifice a 2, and a 3. That's not that hard. And you can just one-shot kill whatever players are the most likely to kill you first. No Mercy. 2 and a black and a black. Whenever a creature does damage to you, destroy it. Whenever they attack you and try to get retribution or stop you from killing them next, destroys all their creatures, and Vincent Valentine will be bigger. So that's going to be a fun way to prevent them from just all out swinging at you. If you want to include a Planeswalker, Liliana Dreadhorde General feels like it's the best one. 6 mana for a 6 loyalty. Whenever a creature control dies, draw a card. You can plus it 1 loyalty to make a 2/2 zombie creature token. -4, each player sacks 2 creatures of their choice. -9, each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacks the rest. Liliana is a little suspicious because you have to be able to have 2 creatures that you're willing to sacrifice to it for the ability to trigger and kill your opponent's creatures as well. So it's a little suspect now that I'm reading it again, but it's technically doable. Plus, it gives you some card draw against board wipes. Rogue's Passage, you're playing mono black. You get a 4 to play some utility lands. Tap, add colors, 4, tap, target creature can't be blocked this turn. That's going to feel great with your Infect. That's going to feel great with your big creature that you just want to kill them with. War Room is a land that adds a colorless 3 tap, pay 1 life because you only have 1 color in your commander's color identity, and draw a card. Another way to draw a card since you're not playing blue, Shizo Death's Storehouse is legendary land that taps, add black, so it's untapped just like Swamp. You can pay 1 black, tap, target creature gains fear until end of turn. It can be blocked except for by artifact creatures and or black creatures. Again, most likely, one of your opponents, at least one of your opponents, is probably not going to have a black blocker or not an artifact to block with. Artifact creature to block with. And that's going to be a good time. So those are all of the cards that I would consider adding to a Vincent Valentine commander deck. You let me know your thoughts on the cards I think you should add, what cards you're excited to add, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. May your top decks be ever in your favor. Thanks.